This is The Recap, a weekly reflection on the sermons of Fellowship Baptist Church in Mainville, Ohio, seeking to help you make Jesus essential in every aspect of your life. I'm your host, Brent Wilson, and I'm here with the preacher of this week's sermon, Ryan Land. Ryan, welcome to Switching Chairs.
I thought you were going to say welcome to the table.
Welcome to the table.
We have a table.
We have a table. We are mixing it up.
We picked it up from our neighbor's lawn.
It was on.
It said free.
It said free. We
with
said
copious amounts of tape.
We would like to do that.
There's a lot of tape on this table
But
still.
we're going to take it off.
We're going to get it off.
You can't even see it.
Did they say free? Did it say free on
It
it?
said free.
Free.
It stood there for a week, and eventually I was like,
How much did it get rained on?
several days.
Several times.
Oh, actually, no, it hadn't rained in a while.
But I think it was that week it rained so much.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's holding up.
We got it. We got a table now.
Boom.
I can look at Brent.
I like this better.
You like to look at you like to look into my eyes?
Yeah. Let us know if you like us looking this way better versus we didn't even really look at the camera before.
Here's what's so funny.
We looked at each other just at an angle.
Here's what's so funny to me is that one of the biggest things I didn't like about the chairs is that you could see my bare legs.
Are you
like
crossing them?
When I had short. No, I didn't care about that. Which when I had shorts on. But now we get the table and I can hide my legs a little bit. You can still see them, but they're not like towards the camera.
Your legs are too pasty.
Yeah. But now it's like pants season, and so I'm wearing pants and not shorts. And so
I can't confirm.
Yeah, and the video viewers can confirm. I'm wearing long.
Oh, is the shot that low?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how long the shot is. Josh did the shot.
Oh. Josh, can you see our legs?
Yeah.
So.
All
right.
Knees down? Okay.
All right. Well,
so anyway, there's a funny thought I had about it's like, now my legs aren't front and center, but it doesn't matter because it's long pants season.
I really do feel like with the table, like I just want to enter into a debate with you.
What do you want to debate?
I have no idea. I just want to debate. Like I just feel like it's more like that.
Yeah. What we can debate the validity of debating. Go.
I'm for it.
I'm against it.
Why?
Because
you saying like formal debates? Or you're like,
Brent, I'm just joking. I'm
just about to say that doesn't make any sense.
I was just taking the contrary position so we could debate the merits of debating.
Yeah. We ain't got time for that. All right. Here's my icebreaker.
All right.
You ready?
Break that ice.
Okay. So you talked about LeBron coming home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming home. And
2014.
That's when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not a basketball guy, so it didn't speak to my soul as much.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's good. It's still good.
I think maybe just sidebar, the coolest I've ever felt is standing in front of like a however tall picture of LeBron James. It made me feel like I was like on ESPN or something. So,
how tall is he?
How tall is LeBron James?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like 6'7".
6'7".
But I would actually say he's probably like that tall.
Okay. So
Josh, the booth is talking to me. 6'9".
6'9".
Yeah. Gosh. I didn't think he was that tall.
That's crazy.
Guys are 6'9" and play center, and he plays like power forward. Temporarily played point guard for a while he was at Cleveland.
I'll be honest. I feel like positions in basketball don't make any sense to me. Like they're all running around.
Okay, that's true. But some of them have like the guy that brings the ball.
The center makes sense.
The guy that brings the ball.
Center.
The guy that brings the ball down.
The point guard.
The point guard.
I get that. I get the center and the point guard. The rest.
You have like a shooting guard or like a small forward, power forward, things like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No idea. I didn't play basketball growing up. But
me neither. I didn't make the team.
Well, your mom was the coach.
Well, things were hard in the Land household. She coached girls basketball. My mom never cut me from basketball team, just to be clear.
Okay. So homecoming.
But I was the manager of my junior high basketball teams.
Could see you
and I wore a tie to every game.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That tracks.
All right. What's the icebreaker?
All right.
LeBron.
So, homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Idea of homecoming. What is your favorite story? So it could be a movie, book, TV show, whatever. Story with the idea of homecoming or returning home, or it could be like a new home. It's like it wasn't your original home, but it's like this is
like found home.
Yeah.
The obvious answer is Harry Potter.
Yeah, that is the obvious answer.
Where at the end, so I'm not going home.
I'm not going home, Ron.
Not really. When he's going back to the Dursleys.
Yeah.
So that's obvious. But let me think of some other ones. Lord of the Rings, there's this very great sense of home in the Shire.
In the Shire.
That you leave and then you come back. So it's like you don't...
There and back again.
There and back, yeah. A Hobbit's Tale. I don't. What did you think of one?
I got a couple. Also in Lord of the Rings, you have the Grey Havens. It's kind of like the true.
That's like heaven, yeah. But see, like the Grey Havens doesn't feel like that to me because you never go there, you never see it. Like
it's just this longing
people just
for that
tell you
place.
it's good, and you're like, I guess. But it's like the Shire, you get to experience it being good.
That's true.
So
A good pipe, a good ale.
yeah. That neighbor that's like staring at you like this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What are some of the
So
other ones?
let me tell you my first memory of one ever.
Okay.
The Land Before Time. I think the second one. It's when they're when
In the valley.
like everything's dying.
Big
and they gotta
valley.
go find the new place.
Big Valley.
Is it called Big Valley?
Where there's a tree star tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they go through that cave, and then it's
They're right there.
There it is.
I think it's called Big Valley. Let's see if we can name them all. Littlefoot,
Ducky,
Ducky,
Petrie,
Spike, and
Sarah.
Sarah. Great job.
bro,
I loved Land Before Time.
Chomper.
Chomper. He didn't come
3.
in till a later one. 3. Yeah. He's a little T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yep. I know what you want to talk about right now. So go ahead.
One time, me and Kate were, my wife, were telling Ryan he had to go watch this particular show. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go home and watch it. And instead, he fell down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching documentaries about Land Before Time.
No. I watched one documentary that was 2 hours long, reviewing every single movie in the Land Before Time franchise, of which there are like 13. So, to be clear, I could see it in your eyes that you wanted to talk about me. And then they were like, did you watch the show? And I was like, no, I watched a 2-hour documentary about every single Land Before Time movie.
What?
Oh, man.
So that was my first memory.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I'm trying to think of another one. What else? What
I mean,
other ones do you
Narnia
have?
kind of has that sense a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when they have to leave, he's like, you can never come back. And they're like, what? Because like, this is the place we really want to belong.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any like book. I mean, Harry Potter is a book. Lord of the Rings is a book. Narnia is a book.
Land Before Time.
Not a book.
Maybe have been a book after.
Maybe.
There's been picture books.
I don't know. I know so many are gonna like hit me after we're done recording.
The Matrix a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really think about because the place like you want to be is terrible.
Yeah.
Like the real world, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, do you want to come?
That's true.
Be attacked by robots and eat gruel? And it's like, honestly, no. Like, I'll just stay here in the
That's
Matrix.
why that one dude goes back.
Yeah, he wants the steak. Cypher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of one.
I thought you'd have.
Me too. It feels like something I'd have like I'd ready to go.
Yeah.
But I like there are several things I can think of where it's like place is so important. Like the Port William series of Wendell Berry books are all about the same place, and so it's different characters in the same town, and so you get that sense that it's like this little place is like
Yellowstone's
home.
like that.
Yeah, Yellowstone.
We have to protect this place.
Yeah. Even though that one's like a little bit
Yeah.
darker. Like no one's happy on the home in
yeah.
Yellowstone. I
But
feel like
it's the ideal of the place.
yeah. I had one other one I thought, To Kill a Mockingbird is a little bit like this. Like Maycomb is like this place where everyone kind of knows each other. And then later on in the book, when the trial starts, you kind of are exposed to this sort of like darker side of, and it's like, but then it's like, it's still home, even when there's this darker reality about it.
Battlestar Galactica is a little bit like that. The ending.
No spoilers though, because it's
spoil
so good. Lost.
Yeah.
We have to go back.
Gotta go back.
We have to go back.
Oh, man.
So like, there's that sense. Yeah.
That's good.
Where it's like, even when we thought it was bad, it's actually better than the alternative.
Yeah. I love just in stories that idea of place, of the place we've longed for. So anyway, I had that idea and went about it for a second. Okay, so this story about David, off the beaten path story. Right, this is not a David and Goliath. This is not
for sure.
Daniel in the lion's den. This is not a in your story kids storybook Bible. We're not talking about this story. So quickly, tell it to me like I'm a kid.
Okay,
tell me the story.
Okay,
give me the whole thing.
So David is on the run from Saul and decides it's too much for him, and so he decides to go live with the Philistines. God's enemy, the enemy of God's people. And he actually goes and lives in Gath, the state of Gath, which is where Goliath was from. And he becomes kind of buddies with the king of Gath. This guy's name's Achish. And Achish is like, hey, if you will go kill some people for me, I'll give you a place, like a fortress. And that's called Ziklag. And so David's like, okay, I'll go do that. And what he actually does is he goes and he kills he kind of like fights with like other Gentile like tribes, kind of like the Amalekites and things like that, and tells Achish, yeah, I've been taking out all these tribes or these cities in Judah. And so he's kind of playing both sides of Israel and Philistine. So he's never attacking the Israelites, but he's kind of allying himself, being friends with the Philistines. So then, in this story particularly, he's going to this, David and his 600 men, they're going to this big battle with all the Philistine states. And the other kings of the other Philistine states tell Achish, we're not fighting with David. We can't trust him. He killed Goliath. He's an Israelite. We're not fighting. If he fights, we're not fighting. And so Achish is like, sorry, dude, you got to go home. So while he's been gone, some other guys have come, some Amalekites have come and attacked and burned down his home, Ziklag. And so David rolls up, all these people have been taken, all this stuff has been taken, his fortress, this little place where, you know, it wasn't just like one house, right? It's like 600 plus people lived here. So it's been just like ruined. And so David calls out to God, should I go pursue these people that did this? God says, do it now. So they get together, they go. 200 guys get tired. They don't want to go on anymore. And David says, okay, stay here. And so then these 400 guys, David, keep going. They meet this Egyptian dude who's just like wandering, looks bad. They take care of him, give him some food. They give him, you know, rice cakes and water and rest and all this stuff. And it turns out this Egyptian guy used to be owned by one of these guys in this Amalekite raider party. And so he's like, I can take you to him if you don't kill me and if you don't give me back to him. And David's like, you got it. And so he takes him down. David kills all the guys, gets all of their people were unharmed, all of their stuff, and all of the other stuff that these Amalekites have taken from other people. So then David takes that back to his 400 men, and then they ride back to the 200. So they're all back together again, all 600 of them. And David says, everybody is going to get some of the same amount of the spoil. And the 400 that went and fought, they were like, that's not fair. That's dumb. Why they didn't do anything? Why do they get to keep it? And David says, well, because the Lord has given us this spoil, I'm gonna share it with everyone. And he actually makes it a law that anytime his men take spoils, they have to share it equally among everybody. But then David takes some of that spoil and sends it to these tribes or these cities in Judah to tell them, hey, I know I've been gone, but I'm coming back. The end.
Coming home.
I'm coming home. The return of the king.
Okay. So that's helpful. So going back to the beginning of the story, you pointed out this idea that in several of the chapters, God's not mentioned. David doesn't talk about God. The only time God's mentioned is one time by this other person. So why do you think David has gotten to this place where he's going through this season where he's ignoring the Lord? Why is he there? What's going on there?
Well, it seems like if you go back, I think it's the beginning of chapter 26, he just seems defeated. There's this like short line of dialogue where he says, essentially like, I'm sick of running from Saul. I know that Saul is going to kill me. So I'm just going to remove myself from the equation, essentially. And so it just seems like he's exhausted. He's in disbelief of what God has promised him. Like it's just never going to happen. And you know, think about where David has been up to this point. It's like there was at one point where it seemed like he was really close, like he was sitting side by side with the king, and it just seems like moment by moment he's just getting further and further and further and further and further away from being in Saul's good gracious, even though it seems like David's doing everything right. So we have these two stories where he spares Saul's life. We have the Nabal and Abigail story where it takes some convincing, right? But he ends up doing the right thing. And so it just seems like, God, I'm doing all of this. I'm being obedient. I'm being faithful. And still Saul's just pursuing me and I'm tired. And so it really does just seem like he's like, I'm just tired. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm going to go to these guys who I can earn their favor doing what I'm good at, being a warrior. And I'll just be with them. Like because it's not even like David has aspirations to be a ruler, right? God has just promised him that he would be.
Yeah.
And so it's not like he's going to go into the Philistines and be like, hey, I'm going to take them over and be their king. It's like, he's just like, I just want to go somewhere where I'm not on a wanted poster, in every city.
Yeah.
Where Saul has people looking out for me.
Yeah.
It's like, so I just want to just be away from the conspiracy, right? The narrative against me. And so he's like, he just gives up.
You may not know the answer to this, but why does he think he can go to his enemies?
It doesn't really say.
Okay.
Yeah, he just says that. If you look at 26, he just says like, so I'm going to Philistine. I'm going to the land of the Philistines. Mm-hmm. And I have no idea why he thinks he can pull that off.
The other thing
and he does.
The other thing that's interesting to me is that there's these other references in the text later on that Goliath has brothers.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like, I'm assuming they're from the same place.
Yeah, they're from Gath.
Like, that seems like a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah. But I think it's a little bit like the enemy of my enemy for them.
Yeah.
Because they don't like Saul.
Yeah.
And they know Saul doesn't like David.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're like, hey, maybe we can use this as an opportunity to weaken.
Yeah.
So maybe they're sort of using David. I don't know. The text doesn't really say. But yeah, David says, yeah, I'm going to the Philistines.
Well, any practical insight from that, just of like, trying to follow the Lord, being exhausted, it's never working out. Like, I just feel like that's like the story of a lot of us sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, it reminds me of your sermon from a few weeks ago about the guy, like David's friends in the cave.
Yeah.
They're like, just do it. Like, just do it. Just kill him. And so you can be king. Right. And David says, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel right about it. And so a little bit, David has this moment of, well, I'm not going to do the wrong thing. I'm not just going to abandon everything.
Yeah.
But I am going to just quit kind of pursuing.
Quit trying.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like David has this expectation of results, right? Like it's not, like God said it was going to happen and it's not happening. And what David doesn't realize is just like, it's just not happening yet.
Yeah.
But what in that, despair, in that, I think for us, it's more like just boredom. Like we're just like, it's like, I'm so bored of trying to be obedient and like trying to wait. It's just like everyone else is like having fun and making more money than me or, whatever, doing X, Y, and Z, but what we can't do because we're bound by God's commands and our conscience is that. And so we're just like, well, I'm not going to go do all these wrong things, but I'm just going to be kind of like, whatever,
So really the idea there is stay on the path.
Yeah. Like, and
waiting doesn't mean don't do anything.
And evaluate why you're on the path in the first place. Is it for results? Or or I guess like, I get it is for results, but what is the result? And if the result is anything other than to glorify God, to know God, to emulate God, and to show God's character to other people, then you're always going to be disappointed because life is going to be disappointing. But those things are always, if that's your goal, those things can always be true, right? Like no matter what worldly, blessing or whatever, like if you're being obedient, if you're being faithful, like you're going to glorify God, right? You're going to glorify God in your family, in your workplace. And so having your eye on the right result, the right rewards, and also the timing, right? Trusting God's timing and not your own timing is going to keep you in the land of the people of God, right? Instead of fleeing into the land of his enemies.
Yeah.
Kind of in.
So David's waiting. Sort of. He's given up. He's kind of off in the same.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that is important about it, is that David clearly is taking matters into his own hands. Is he knows this is not really the way God would want him to handle this, but he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do what I think. Right. It's kind of like the judge, like the story judge is like, he's just going to do what's right in his own eyes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of my own people. I'm going to take care of my own skin because God's not taking care of me.
It's an interesting,
he's not taking care of me in this Saul problem. And so like, I'm just going to take care of it my way. So I'm going to go.
It's an interesting, like, middling position.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to do the worst thing, which is like go kill Saul.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to remove myself from the equation, which I think, I'm just thinking about this now, is like a very tempting idea in like our day and age, right? It's like we know someone at our job or whatever is in like a difficult situation, and other people are just like, treating them like the same, right? Just like, why didn't you get this thing done? Why didn't you blah, 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 whatever. And we're going to be like, well, I'm going to be nice to them. Or I'm going to lay off them a little bit, but I'm not going to actually extend like what I think is the actual ultimate answer to whatever problem they're having. Yeah. That's just like the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. But it's like, I'm going to do like the bare minimum to make make myself feel good and protect myself, but also not be in my own mind, like openly rebellious towards God. It's like, so I'm going to try to do both, right? And which is kind of what David is doing, like the playing both sides. Like he's lying to Achish about attacking the Israelites, but he's actually attacking these other people. He's like, gosh, I know I'm supposed to be with these people, so I'm not going to do anything against them, but I'm safer over here, and so I'm just going to kind of be buddy-buddy with them instead. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay, so then he gets to this place where he strengthens himself in the Lord. Yeah. So what gets him finally to that position, and what does that look like for him, and what does it look like for us to do that?
Yeah, so it seems to be not only like the turning point in the like this story. I think if you're just reading all of 1 Samuel as it's, because we know 1 and 2 Samuel were not actually 1 and 2 when they were written. It was just one book, and they split into two. Like The Hobbit.
Time out. I preached last week and Samuel died. Who keeps writing?
That's a great question. I don't know. I've never looked into it.
I've never thought about it until last week.
Yeah. I've never thought about it. We got a whole nother book.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Okay.
But so I don't remember what I was like. Oh, this seems to be like a very climactic moment for David, for the whole story of the life of David, is that like this turn seems to propel him into kingship. And right, obviously his kingship's not going to be perfect, but it's like this, what I wanted to say is like, this is like when Popeye like eats the spinach. Oh, and it's like his biceps get big, right? It's like this power like returns to him, right? That has been missing for 3 chapters. And so, like in any good, any good story, you've got like the like darkest moment, so in Star Wars, I'm trying to remember the first one. It's not as super tightly constructed as I think some movies are now, but it's like, there's like a moment where it's like, are they going? It's like when Luke is like in the X-Wing and Darth Vader is, he's about to drop the photon torpedo down the shaft of the Death Star, and Darth Vader's in his TIE fighter, like right behind him. And you're like, how is this going to work? And it's like that moment of like, I don't think this is going to work out. And then Han comes and Obi-Wan says, use the Force.
He's got to turn the computer off.
Yeah. And so that happens. And that's like this moment so it's like, you're in the darkest moment. And then this moment of like, but David strengthened himself in the Lord is this like turning point.
Okay.
And so a couple verses prior, it talks about how the men had no more strength left, not even enough to weep. So it's just like they're totally broken. Like they're
exhausted,
kneeling in the ashes of their homes. Their wives are gone, their kids are gone, all their herds, all their money is gone. They've got nothing, and David particularly has nothing because the men that are in his command, they're like, I think we have to stone David because he messed up so bad.
Yeah,
and not only that, just prior to this, they were wanting to go fight in this battle, and the Philistines said, actually, we don't need you. Yeah. It's like, so that's embarrassing, right? That's a defeat of one sort. And they, when it rains, it pours, it seems like, when they come back. And really, I think the reason David does this is because he's got nothing left to do. There's literally no other option, like for what to turn to. And I think many people have had moments like that, where you hear people give their testimony all the time where they're like, I was at my lowest.
Yeah.
It's like I had nothing else to turn to. And so That's all it says is David strengthened himself in the Lord. And so the question is like, what does that mean? I think you have to look at what it produced, right? And so you go on, and what David does is he goes and talks to this priest and says, get the ephod or whatever it's called, the ephod. I can't remember how it's pronounced. The ephod, and we're calling out to God. And so I think like just the one practical way like that we strengthen ourselves in the Lord is just to call out to him. It's like, and we don't have to wait till like our lowest moment to do it. We can do it at any moment, right? We can call out to him for his strength and he gives it. And it's almost this idea that the calling out is from God. Like David strengthens himself in the Lord, and that is what empowers him to call out in prayer. And then I talked about how God sort of immediately answers, right? And so when you're in those moments where you need strength and you feel that urge to pray or you feel that desire to pray, it's like that's the strengthening in the Lord that comes. Yeah. And so I think being sensitive to that, being ready for that, but then also in any sort of hardship, being prepared to call out in the Lord.
So certainly a teaching moment for David. The Lord is
I think this is all a teaching moment, and I think I could prove it.
Okay.
Because the Amalekite, the people that attacked David are called the Amalekite. They're called the Amalekites. And do you know I think it's the first time we hear about the Amalekites in 1 Samuel.
Okay.
When Saul is anointed king and God gives him a task.
To kill the Amalekites.
Go kill all the Amalekites. And what does he do? He leaves some of them alive, but then which God says is disobedient. But then God uses them to create this moment for David, and then they just so happen to find this Egyptian man, and luckily these raiders, these bandits, have not killed anyone and have not done anything with any of their herds and their sheep, and so it seems very clear that God has orchestrated this whole thing. To teach David, to discipline and show David a better way, because he's using the Amalekites. He like Saul didn't destroy, but he protected all the things that could not be replaced. Right. So they may have destroyed all the houses, but they didn't destroy any of the people.
And it's interesting. It's like David, as the true king, is going to do what Saul, the failed king, was supposed to do to begin with and never did.
Yeah. So I told someone the other day, I could have preached a sermon totally differently, because chapters 29 and 30 are just these two parallel stories about how Saul is a failed king and is like in decline, a failed king in decline, and how David is a struggling king on the who's about to ascend, because in the previous story is the witch of Endor.
Oh yeah.
Which I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, I want to. It's just crazy.
It's just crazy. So like Saul uses a witch to summon Samuel's spirit, and it seems to work. Like it's crazy. But it's like, so Saul has this moment where he needs help and he turns to a pagan witch who summons a spirit. David has this moment where he needs help and he calls out to God. Saul fails in his mission, and we're going to see what happens because of that, like in chapter 31. David is promised success in his mission, and he goes and he succeeds. And so there's this parallel between the two that I think is really cool. But you see that. I don't remember what we were talking about before. You said something that made me think of that.
I was saying that he does what the failed king.
Oh yeah, exactly. And so there is this parallel very clearly set up between David and Saul, I think even structurally in the book, that you see, I think from the get-go, but very clearly on display here. And I think the Amalekite, destroying the Amalekites when Saul failed to do it is a piece of that puzzle.
That's fascinating.
I think, so in studying our D group and like preparing our D group book and getting all the devos and stuff together, like 1 Samuel is one of the best constructed just like stories of all time. It's so good.
Well, it's interesting because, I think a lot of times when we read the Bible, we think that it's just like, oh, people wrote down everything that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it was really intentionally written to make points to those who would come later.
Right. Like, so the author of 1 Samuel, whoever it is at this point, because Samuel's dead, didn't know, was probably not privy to every single conversation that David had.
Yeah.
And so he probably could have written a line of dialogue in between chapters 26 and 30 where David used the personal name of God or called out to God. But obviously the author's making a point with the lack of God, the mentions of God from David. It's obvious because it's over and over and over and over and over again, 16 through 26. And you hit that point and it stops. And it's just like, you can feel it in the text. You're like, David says, I'm going to the Philistines, and God is like gone from the story. He's like not even a character.
It's like, God's like, I don't live there.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's exactly right. And so the structure of it is just so amazing. Like from a macro level, like you zoom out and you look at how it's just structured is so cool.
I think we miss stuff like that in our, like, I don't know if it's our business of our world or whatever it is, but our quick fix. It's like, oh, I just want a verse.
Yeah.
Give me a verse to help me with this.
Like you can like search on your
verses
Bible, verses about anxiety or whatever. Yeah.
But it's like, no,
verse with a keyword.
When you study the Bible, it's actually like much deeper, and it takes a lot of work to understand and see these things.
And I also think reading it with a literary eye, like these are stories written for an audience with a purpose.
We often read with just the practical eye.
Yeah. What does this teach me?
Yeah. And we need that, but we also need the theological lens. We need the literary lens and others.
Yep.
So that's good. Okay. So you said when God feels distant, it's you who move, not him. What is the path back to God when this happens? And how much should we trust on our feelings? Because when he feels distant, how much should we trust our feelings, and how do we know when it's fixed?
Yeah.
So what's path back? How do we trust our feelings?
Okay.
How do we know?
So for David, it's like a pretty easy answer because God just speaks to him, right? So he's like, he calls out to God, and God's like, "What's up? Go do it." David says, "God, should I go kill these people?" And God's like, "Do it.
Do it
Now. Pursue them. You will be successful." And so obviously that's not always going to be the case, but we don't live in a world where we have to wait for God to speak to us, because we can open the Bible and know that God has already spoken personally to us through his word. And so like when students tell me that, I'm like, gosh, it's like, I'm struggling in my faith. I just feel distant. I'm like, go read the book of Mark, go read the book of John, and see how personal Jesus is to all these people, and know that he's just as personal to you. Like through the power of the Holy Spirit, like Jesus is just as personal to you as he is to all these people he's interacting with. And so let God's word be near to you. Let God's word be an encouragement to you. Call out to God, right? That's the path back, is if God's here and you're the one that moved, run back to him. Well, how do we know him? Through calling out to him in prayer, through studying his word, through being around his people. And so do those things. Like it's very, very, very rare that someone who is consistently studying their Bible, consistently in prayer, and consistently spending time in worship and in fellowship with other believers says something like that. It's like, man, no one does all three of those things. It's like, man, I feel distant from God. It's like, okay, like, what are you doing?
I may have said this on a podcast a couple weeks ago, but it's been sticking with me. I think it was Francis Chan I heard say this. He's like, you said
this to Jacob. It was awesome.
You are as close to God as you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
And so you have all the tools.
God is like right here. Yeah. And we're just like, you ever go to the grocery store and there's someone you see and you're like, I kind of know this person
all the time.
And it's but so you like, I don't really want to talk to them because I think it might be awkward because I don't really know their name. And so you're like trying to avoid them. That's like kind of how we are with God. It's like, God's just like, I'm just here. Like, what are you doing? And we're kind of like avoiding eye contact. And it's like, but you just engage. Yeah. Right. Like,
but I also think we often look for a feeling, right? Like some kind of emotional high or connection. And we think that, getting goosebumps, getting
the warm fuzzy, butterflies.
That's God. And I think we can really deceive ourselves and then manipulate ourselves into having that feeling.
It's why like rock concert worship services are so popular. Yeah. Because people get like the warm fuzzy feeling. Someone said this one time, and I don't remember where it was or what it was. It was a podcast or something, but they were talking about one of the things that really shook them in their faith was they went to like a Coldplay concert.
I got the same feeling.
And they were like, I get the same feeling at the Coldplay concert that I do at church. And because they had equated that feeling with God being present or God being in the room or whatever, when they go to the Coldplay concert and feel it, it's like, well, maybe that's not God. Maybe it's just me. And so it just like really makes people, doubt their faith, or to be like, well, God's like kind of in everything, like one of the two answers. And so, we can't say, just that feeling we get is being close to God, because, well, it's like that Rich Mullins quote we talk about all the time, where it's like, oh gosh, that was
the best.
That was the best worship.
That wasn't worship.
Like, well, I could really feel the Spirit.
Yeah, that was spirit. Yeah, that was emotion.
Yeah, that was emotion. And so we can't trust in that. It's like probably even God saying, go pursue these people. David probably did not get the warm fuzzies and be like, let's go, guys. Dude's exhausted.
Yeah.
His home has been burned to the ground. He's about to get stoned by his guys. And God's like, sorry, you got to go find another battle. And David's like, all right, let's do it. But I don't think he's like, oh, like goosebumps, more thank you, God. I knew you were close to me. It just doesn't seem like what's happening in the story.
Yeah. So don't rely on your emotions.
Rely on the things that God has already given us, which is prayer, his church, and his word.
Yeah. Okay. So David's strengthened. He's going. He gets to the river. He leaves 200 guys behind. They cross 400.
I think I called them sleepy-headed bozos in the church, in the sermon. That was not in the manuscript.
So they go across the river, come across this Egyptian dude who's been left for 3 days. He's hungry, he's thirsty. They take care of him. What do we learn from David's treatment of this guy?
Okay, well, I just actually had like a bit of an epiphany that I think is so cool.
Okay.
That I didn't even think about in prepping. I didn't even reference in the sermon. I did a little bit, but so David, right, sees this Egyptian guy. And one of the things I talked about that I think is so interesting about this story is that David is not just like zoned in on these Amalekites and like we're going to get them, right? Like he sees this guy wandering, struggling, maybe I don't know. He hadn't had food or water in 3 days, and makes a detour to go take care of him. And one of the things I said it briefly that I love is that there's like this list of things he gave them, and it's the same things that Nabal should have given David in the story that you preached on, and he does it, and David gets really ticked. Well, then David gives, like food, like bread, water, raisin cakes, like something else, and David shows the hospitality and the kindness that Nabal didn't. And so David has like learned his lesson from that. Like, I don't want to just go dead, go cold in my sleep or whatever.
There's also a gospel implication there, because in the first story, there's a sense in which David earned those things.
Yes. And the Egyptian man
has done nothing to deserve them.
And so David, just like gives this to, and it seems like they stop, right? And just to take care of this guy. They give him food, they give him rest, right? All of these things. And so in a gospel sense, it's showing us like, hey, you are the Egyptian man. You are the one who is just wandering, haven't had anything. You're just dead in the wilderness, and God comes and takes care of you.
Which kind of makes me think of Jesus' parable about leaving the 99 for the one.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like, well, why aren't you focused on the 99?
They've got a mission.
We got to care for all these sheep.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, no, I'm caring for you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not worried about the mission right now. We're going to care for the one guy.
He's doing the side quest.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing I just thought of, the epiphany I just had is, I talked about this point. I really emphasized David's obedience to some of these Old Testament commands about taking care of the needy, taking care of the sojourners. And they're all rooted in, as you were sojourners in Egypt. And it's like, so David would see this guy. I don't know if he knew he was an Egyptian from sight, but when he asked him, where are you from? He says, I'm from Egypt. It's like he instantly would have thought of all, like the word Egypt, like the way we think about the pyramids and the Sphinx, right? When we think of Egypt, they would think about their exile,
the Passover,
right?
Yeah.
And so David is like instantly taken back to all of those laws, just as the Israelites were wanderers, foreigners, sojourners in Egypt. Like God took care of you, so you take care of the foreigner, the sojourner, the wanderer. And so that's what David does. It's like, I think his compassion, his kindness is rooted in all of these Old Testament laws and the character of God who took care of them when they were wanderers, took care of the people of Israel.
Yeah.
And now David gets to emulate God's character and take care of the Egyptian wanderer.
Well, it really does seem twofold, because on the one hand, it's, I remember the history of my people, but also right now, David's homeless in a sense. He's in a land that's not his home.
Yeah.
And so can understand the plight of this guy.
For sure. But David sees himself in one way or another in this Egyptian slave.
Yeah.
Right. And takes care of him because he knows that's who I am. That's who I was. He was like, and one of the greatest things about this story is, and this applies to the sharing the spoils later, is like David understands the world owes him nothing, and the world would have given him nothing because he was not a imposing or special.
He's nobody.
Yeah, he was just a nobody. And it's God who has chosen him for something special. And I think that really affects David, that the world would have looked at me and skipped over me, but God has looked on me with compassion and with a special purpose.
Therefore, I'm not going to look over.
Yeah, therefore I'm not going to look over people. So that seems to be true in that story. And later on, when he gives the sleepy-headed bozos, as I called them, the spoils of war.
And also the fact that this slave was a part of the band.
Oh yeah.
Burned
just
down.
So happens.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it felt very much like Ruth. It's like, oh, but hey, this guy also.
Yeah. So you see the sovereignty of God in all of this story, but also this guy's a part of the crew that burned down his home.
Oh yeah, he's an enemy. Like he could have, David was like, oh, you did that. You know, stab him.
Well, so you have David's kindness to a foreigner, to an enemy, to a slave, and so now he's been liberated. He's been cared for.
Dang, why didn't you preach this sermon?
No, I'm just seeing it. And so you just see that God is in all those things to us, and as David's done.
Yeah, we are the wandering, dead, foreign rebel, right?
Slave. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so then you had this idea about we think the commands of God are burdensome. Talk about New Testament and that, and how do we get to the place where? Well, first let me ask this: why do we think that? Why do we? Even as Christians,
because our desires are just for the other thing, because we're broken, right? It's like the reason that there's pornographic magazines and websites and all this stuff is because we have the desire for sexual intimacy, but it's constrained to this one union. And so we're going to go, we're going to try to seek it out in other ways, right? It's like, so we just have that desire for the other, and we think to not have that is like the worst thing in the world, right? Like we just, because we want it, we think we should get it. And that's just true for everything, right? For every sin.
You use this phrase in your sermon, and it's become a phrase for me, and probably for you, that has just been just a light bulb, sort of like category to think in. You use the phrase the good life. And I do think that is the case, where it's like we think, oh, this thing will lead me to the good life. Like the envision of what I think will bring me true joy.
And it's usually joy for a moment, right?
Yeah.
We don't have big enough imaginations.
Yeah, but we think it's the good life.
Yeah.
And God is trying to actually lead us to the good life. But I just think that category is so helpful.
Yeah. Well, and it's the story itself is trying to show us that in David's disobedience, it leads him to Ziklag being burned and destroyed, and his obedience to God, right, leads him to a feast. It leads him to rest. When you think about the Egyptian guy, right, he gets cold water, a feast, freedom, right? All these things. It's like that's what obedience leads to, and so we think obedience means do's and don't do's, and that's basic truth that you would teach to children. But obedience, what it really is saying, this is the thing that God has promised will lead to what Jesus calls life and life abundantly, right? True life, true living,
the good life,
right? And so, the world says, I'm just trying to think of an example.
Eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah. Or like, the ultimate good is, the path to the good life is the most money. Mm-hmm. We see that all the time, right? And so it's like, if you can have the newest stuff, the best stuff, you're gonna have a good life, right? If you got a nice house, a nice car, all those things. And God says, actually, the good life is not building yourself kingdoms here, but kingdoms in heaven. Mm-hmm. And your hands being open with the good things I have given you. And that's just like, and we're just like, we don't believe you, God. We're gonna buy our whatever super great car, and then a year later trade it in and buy another one because it doesn't satisfy anymore. Yeah. And so it's like, and God's like, hey, will you just listen to me for a second? It's like the actual good life, the actual like fulfill. I think that's the word that gets me going, is like fulfillment. Yeah. Like there's all these things I'm looking for to fulfill me. Yeah. To make me feel complete.
So how do we get to a place? Someone says to you, Ryan, I want to get to a place where obeying God doesn't feel like duty, it feels like delight. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel that way. Mm-hmm. How do I get there?
I think, and this is just a challenge to all of us in our church and churches around the world, do we talk about God's commands as delightful?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, do we...
Or burdensome.
Yeah. Or do we talk, or do we think more like David and treat them more like David, where it's like, hey, this is hard, but hey, it's going to pay off in the end, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to be there in heaven. It's going to be like, hey, aren't we glad we did all the good stuff? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's just the wrong attitude. And to say like, no, this is, and just to encourage one another, say like, hey man, like, I know that, you've been helping this family out with some financial troubles, and it would be so easy for you to spend that money on yourself, and you're willingly choosing not to. And I think you're a good man for that. Mm-hmm. I think you're a good person for doing that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think that makes the Lord smile when you do things like that. And just talking about the goodness of being obedient, and not just in this, like, you're such a great guy way, or man, that's so good, but just like, hey, that's what we want. Mm-hmm. That's the true life that we're all looking for. Like, you're living it. Yeah. And I think that's a big way. And I think certainly in how we teach and how we preach, and not preaching to these like checklists, and for so long preaching has been about, don't what is the card? Don't the old saying, don't drink,
don't smoke, don't chew, don't go with girls who do.
Don't go with girls who do, right? Yeah. And so, it's like, don't do this, don't do that. And instead being like, hey, you want your family to be X, Y, and Z, peaceful, happy, whatever. God's actually shown us how to do that. You want your workplace. You want to be satisfied in your workplace. You want to love your church. Like, God's actually shown us how to do that, and look to the end result, right? Look to the good life and life abundantly that God has promised, instead of the ho-hum, like whatever drudgery in the same day. But it also means, in the same way, talking about more negatively, more strictly, what God has commanded, to be wrong. Yeah. And so when someone we know is doing something sinful, not being like, I know I should really talk to him about it, but it's gonna be really awkward. It's like, to be able to go to say to them, your life is worse because of this thing in your life. Your life is worse because you're choosing this. It's like, I want you to have a better life. So I think that's probably the main way I can think of.
That's good. All right, so David helps the guy, goes down, finds the dudes, kills them all, takes all the plunder, brings it back, and gives it to not only the 400 who helped him fight, but to the 200 who didn't do anything. And you connected that. I was thinking it before you got there, and I was like, man, I hope he does this, and you did. It was so good.
Parable of the vineyard, laborers in the vineyard.
I was like, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
it's just so naturally it. And so you compared it to that. But so I think we understand the point of that, right? The point being, God's grace comes to those whom he wants to give grace to. It doesn't matter how hard you work.
There's this progression in the story when they're talking about the spoil, is that they get it all and they say, this is David's spoil. And so then it's like, okay, they understand all of this belongs to David. And then David says, all right, we're going to give it to everybody. And they say, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're going to give them the stuff that we have done. And the narrative has changed. And it's there's this idea that it's like when we come to faith, right? We're like, God, this is you. But then when after we've been following Jesus for a long time and we see other people come to faith and, maybe their life is not as cleaned up as we want them to be, or they don't believe the things that we think they should believe, right? Not like first tier issue things, like whatever things. And we want to say, whoa. Like, wait a minute. It's like, bro, 10 minutes ago, you said this was God's decision. And now you're fencing how God should do it. And David says, the Lord has given us this. Mm-hmm. And so you see, it's David's spoil until David wants to use it how he wants. And then they're like, wait a minute, we did this. And David's like, no, it was never mine. It was the Lord's.
Yeah. So really some application about just generosity in one sense.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Like all that we have is.
I think on one level it's the grace, but on the next level, it's like it's actually about how we use our money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do we, because I feel like you see this all the time, like we look down our nose at people who, like you said, aren't where we are. They're not cleaned up. They're not looking like this or whatever. How do we avoid that? How do we be like David in that sense of like, no, this is the Lord's grace. It's the Lord's stuff. How do we avoid becoming the people who are, but it's mine, or you don't deserve it or whatever. You didn't do enough.
Yeah. There's a reason like the Heidelberg Catechism is like so old and used. And it's because I think it's Heidelberg Catechism. Now that I say that, I'm doubting myself. But it's like the first question is, what is the chief end of man? Westminster Catechism. Yeah. Also old and widely used. Yeah. What is the chief end of man?
Could be both.
Is it, what's the answer? Now I'm doubting myself.
Yeah. What is, the answer is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. What is the chief end of man?
Yeah. That's not the question I'm thinking of. That's not the catechism I'm thinking of. It's that I am not my own, but belong body and soul, mind and spirit to God.
Yeah.
Right?
That is Heidelberg. And I don't know what the question is.
I can't remember what the question is. But
what is your only hope in life and death?
What is your only hope in life and death?
Yeah.
That I'm not my own.
It's the longer answer that we do in baptism.
Yes.
We do the short answer.
That I am not my own, but belong to God. And so it's the path to doing that, to not looking down your nose at other people, is you didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Like every good thing you have is from God.
Yeah.
Every like if you have the most moral kids in the world, right? Valedictorian, like all these, and then you got this other family in your church and their kids just rabble rousers, yelling all the time, getting up and going to the bathroom in the middle of the service, whatever. And you're just like, why can't those kids just behave better? Mm-hmm. It's like, no, like my kids would never do that. It's like, no, the only reason your kids are, quote unquote, so good is because God did that. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't do anything. So it's like, you don't get to look at other people and be like, why can't they just be like me?
Yeah.
And I think if we ask someone, in a moment like that, if we said, yeah, why can't they just be more like you? They would be like, well, that's not what I'm saying. But a little bit it is, and I've been thinking about that recently as I've been talking with some people who have been struggling, I think attitude wise with some people around them. That's the question I want to ask them. Like, yeah, why can't they just be more like you? It's like, cause you've got it down. You've got it right. Yeah. And of course they would be like, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. And it kind of is, Yeah. No, so I think just recognizing that any good that comes from you or is around you is not yours. It's God's.
Which you made this point, right? It's like David has that because he knows he's a nobody who's received way more than he's deserved.
Yeah, he should be tending sheep, in Bethlehem.
No one knows his name.
Yeah. There's no reason he should be leading 600 guys in a Philistine country, taking over, cities and getting ready to become king. There's no reason for it.
Yeah. But the grace of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rehearse the gospel. And you can do that. That's good. All right. Last question. Walk me through the typology, meaning the Christ connection, how David points us to Jesus.
Yeah. So from that moment where he strengthens himself in the Lord, everything he does is pointing to Jesus, David is doing something temporary and is pointing to something that Jesus is going to do spiritually and eternally. So, and we've talked about some of them, right? So he receives the will of God. Should I go pursue this man? Said, yes, go do it. And what does David do? He goes, right? Just like Jesus receives the will of the Father, and he's immediately obedient, right? He's ultimately obedient. So he sees the Egyptian man and the like we talked about, the rebel, the sojourner, the one that is nearly dead, right? And Jesus does that for all who are in Christ, right? They're rebels, they're wanderers, they're slaves to their sin, and Jesus frees them, he feeds them, he rescues them, right? All those things. So David is being a type of Christ in that moment. In the actual battle where David rescues, there's this great, gosh, I love this line where it's like, and David brought back all. And there's this idea that's like, Jesus is the one that goes into the world and in the work of the gospel, right? In his life, death, resurrection, and ascension, he rescues everyone who was promised to him. It's like he brings back all. There's not a thing he misses. He redeems all of creation and all of the people who were promised to him. And then he divides his glory, so it's like Paul talks about how we're gonna be co-heirs with Christ. It's like, so God divvies up his kingdom, right? We all get to share in his kingdom as co-heirs. Even like we talked about a deep discipleship. Someone asked me about like, do you believe in like getting crowns in heaven? And they're like being rewards and stuff in heaven. I said, not really. It's like, it seems kind of antithetical to the gospel. It's like, there's like the nice neighborhood where Billy Graham lives, and then we all just got to live down like in the normal neighborhood. It's like Jesus says like, no, we all get to share in it equally. Even if some of us are Billy Graham and some of us had deathbed, conversions. It's like we all get the same thing, and so we see Jesus in that, and then this sort of announcement that I'm at the end. We didn't read the verses, but it's like David sends out this money to Judah, where he's going to go kind of be coronated first. He's going to kind of be the king of Judah, and then go on to be the king of Israel. It's like there's this announcement where it's like, I'm coming back. And so Jesus has done the same thing when he ascends, and he says, but I'm returning. I'm coming back to get you all. And so David's doing that. So essentially from verse 6 of 30 all the way through the whole story, David is emulating not just the kind of king he's going to be, but the ultimate kind of king that Jesus is. There you go.
I love it.
That's the Christological
That's good
connection in that story.
That's good. So anytime you read the Bible, especially the Old Testament,
look for Jesus.
Look for Jesus. Okay. No questions this week.
That's all right. Send some questions.
Send some questions our way.
I love a question.
Love a question. We weren't here last week. Sorry, I was on vacation, but we're back.
Staycation.
I was on staycation.
That's what all of Brent's kids said to me when I said, how's your vacation? They'd go, it was a staycation.
But restful nonetheless. All right. Thanks for joining us for the recap. We hope this conversation has encouraged you to keep striving to make Jesus essential in every aspect of your life. If you aren't a part of our church family, we'd love to meet you on Sunday morning. We gather for worship at 10:30 a.m. For more information, you can go to myfellowship.church. Be blessed.
Thanks for listening.